They called the town a place where nothing surprising happened. A single stoplight on Route 9, a diner that never closed, and neighbors who waved at each other like clockwork. People liked their rules. They liked the map. They liked the nights that ended the same way every time. But one autumn morning, the map forgot something. Jonah Miles found it first. He was the kind of man who loved small, precise things. A perfect apple pie at a Sunday breakfast, a row of letters squared on his desk, a solitary tree trimmed into a neat, polite shape. He lived alone on the edge of town, where his orchard folded into a field. He kept things tidy because tidy kept memories tidy too. What on earth? Jonah was trimming a branch when he saw it, half buried beneath a thicket near the old stone fence. A fruit, impossibly round and black as midnight, with veins that pulsed faintly like a heartbeat. It did not belong to any tree he knew. No leaves, no stem, just that impossible fruit resting in the grass like a secret someone had dropped. He picked it up. His hand went cold. The skin of the fruit was both velvet and glass, and when he turned it in his fingers, a pale light seemed to breathe from inside. For a moment, Jonah thought it was art, some stranger's prank, but the fruit hummed in a way that sounded almost like a name. He brought it inside. That night, Jonah placed the fruit on his kitchen table. The lamp above it made no shadow. He tapped the fruit with his knuckle. The sound came back dull, as if swallowed by wool. He called his sister on the old rotary and said, "You should see this." "Bring it down," she answered. By morning, the whole town knew, because secrets in small towns travel faster than rain. People came with phones and questions. Some came with science and clipboards. They called it a phenomenon. They whispered of rare fungi, alien seeds, government tests. The pastor said prayer. The student from the university asked for a sample. The mayor put caution tape around Jonah's yard like a perimeter of polite fear. Jonah never wanted to be a spectacle. He wanted to be the man who trimmed trees and kept the gutters clean. But the fruit did something to the air around it. Dogs that came near the fence lay down and refused to look at it. Lights in the diner dimmed to a softer color. And people, when they looked at one another after seeing the fruit, lowered their voices as if the fruit rearranged the rules of conversation. The first truly strange thing happened at the library. Mrs. Archer, who had cataloged the town's history for 40 years, brought a magnifying glass and set it over the fruit. For a second, she frowned. Then her eyes grew very, very old. She said she recognized the pattern of veins, a sigil from a story she'd heard as a child, a fable about a tree that fell out of time. "It remembers the people who touched it," she said. Her fingers, gentle with bookmarks and ledger pages, trembled when she touched the fruit. Words spilled from her that be more prayer than story, and every head in the library leaned in like moths to a fragile light. That night, Jonah dreamed of a garden so vast it swallowed the horizon. He heard voices, layered and unable to find a single language. He woke with the taste of salt on his mouth and the memory of someone whispering his name across centuries. He wrapped the fruit in a cloth and put it in the cellar where old things went to sleep. On the third day, a child vanished. Emma, aged 7, rode her bike past Jonah's fence, laughing the kind of laugh that makes air feel lighter. She saw something on the ground, stopped, and vanished from the street until she was no longer in the world Jonah knew. Her bike laid on the pavement as if someone had set it down. The neighbors found the ring of flattened grass, and in the center, the fruit lay, now with 2 faint handprints pressed into its skin. The town panicked. Parents searched. Officers combed fields. Flashlights cut the darkness like careful knives. Emma was found an hour later, sitting on the steps of the library, eyes wet, telling a story that did not belong to a 7-year-old. "There was a road of light," she said. "It sang to me like a lullaby." The way she said it made the grown men on the porch stop and listen and realize that the town had been standing on a thread for days. Jonah decided then that the fruit was not something to be studied by curiosity alone. It had weight and will. So he took it to the church, set it on the altar, and in the silence, the whole building seemed to lean in. The pastor, a man more used to calls about broken pipes than miracles, placed his hand near the fruit and felt a warmth that was not fire and a cold.
Breathed on the glass. The guard later said he heard a voice like wind through pages say, "Let it go." He ran. By dawn, the case was empty. Nerth had vanished. The glass sat cracked like a broken promise. The town found the footprints leading toward the apple orchard. Prints that were not quite human, larger at the heel, as if someone had been wearing the weight of another age. Jonah followed the trail. It led into the oldest part of the orchard, where trees bent like old men and the fence sagged. There, in the hollow between roots, he saw the fruit, larger than before, pulsing like a small heart. "Why?" he asked, voice small. The fruit answered in the same way the wind answers the shore. Slow, knowing, and inevitable. Because stories return. Jonah thought of the map, of the neat lines and names. He thought of the children who tell stories late at night and the old men who forget their names. The fruit was not a thing to fear without understanding. It was a test, an essay written in skin and light. Jonah picked up Nerth and this time did not hide it. He walked to the town square and stood before them all. The air sat like a held breath. He set the fruit on the old fountain and said, "We can bury it, lock it, study it until the end of daylight. Or we can remember why stories return to us. Perhaps," he said, "we should listen." The crowd was quiet. Some cried softly. Some laughed nervously. Some moved away as if the fruit might rearrange their thoughts. That night, in the light of 1,000,000 ordinary lamps, they took Nerth into the square and sat. They shared stories, half-remembered dreams, small apologies, names of people no one spoke of anymore. And with each story spoken, the fruit pulsed a warmer blue. In the end, Jonah did not lock Nerth away. He did not eat it. He kept it on a simple wooden table in the town hall and put a sign beside it. Tell a story. Remember. And perhaps that is what it wanted all along. Not to change a person with a single bite, but to wake the town to the idea that some things are bigger than maps. Some things ask us to remember. The map was still the same. The road still curved the same way. But people in the town of Route 9 began to leave little notes under stones and whisper the names of those they had forgotten. The fruit remained, and sometimes in the quiet hours, Jonah would hear a faint melody, not from the fruit itself, but from the town. A chorus of voices, tentative, remembering. And the world, for once,
felt a little more whole. This is where our story pauses, not because the fruit's work is done, but because remembering is a beginning. If you listen to the town long enough, you could hear a single line of truth. Some things should not exist so much as some things should be remembered. Tell me, would you eat Nerth if it asked for a story?